Press. We are delayed because of me enough as it was, you know.
True.
It's all my fault. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is my fault. We aren't starting at 6 today. The story is, I overslept on a nap this afternoon and had to run around and do a lot of stuff. So,
Fun.
You know...
And we'll be late to his own
I
funeral.
I will. And I'm glad about that. I'd rather not have my own funeral. Look, you know, if someone comes up with some kind of horrible way of, like, I've discovered immortality, but it kills, like 1,000 babies, I'd be like, sign me up. I have no morality when that comes to stuff like that.
Christ.
I have very little morality when it comes to a lot of things.
I mean,
I'm pretty evil.
Like, I don't think I'd want to live forever, because that just sounds like a pain in the ass.
I don't know. That's a question. It's like, you know, I guess it's sort of like the thing of, like, I like it that they ponder it a lot more in things like D&D, where they're like, you know, it's like the guy's like, you know, what about being immortal? It's like, you know, it's like, it's a mixed bag.
It'd be fun for, like, maybe the first 100 years, but it's gonna get old.
I think it was said best, actually, in Wrath of Righteous, when the demon lady was like, I've known plenty of people that have gone crazy because of immortality. I mean, because you have too much time on your hands.
God, it's like, I mean, it also, you know, depends on the type of immortality, right?
Yeah.
You know, am I gonna still age? Am I gonna be a shriveled up raisin when I'm 1,000?
Oh man, like what those babies even do for me. Exactly. Lightning's with me. We'll sacrifice. You know, I mean, we'll take the dark deal. You know. Anyway, hi, welcome to We Don't Have Morality.
Christ.
Please note, don't kill babies. It's a really bad idea, just like killing people. Treat people nicely. You know, there we go. There is no secret immortality.
Yeah, don't try to be mortal, you know? Because, you know, it's probably going to be like in What We Do in the Shadows, where, you know, your immortality is you just look the same for the rest of your life, no matter what you look like at that moment. So, you know, if you become immortal the day you got a shit haircut, you're stuck with that forever.
Man, I always have a shit haircut, so it's okay. For the beard, I guess you'd have to be ready for the beard. Make sure it's not gone, like, really full fuzzy. Anyway, I'm gonna throw this docket up in the chat, because this has been really weird start, honestly. We've got stuff to talk about today. I'm gonna talk about Jumpstart 2. Hey, it's a nice Magic the Gathering product that no one talked about and is coming out next weekend. Because no one apparently talked about it. They're just like, by the way, we have it. We got another D&D 1 UA. Maybe the last one. Who knows? There's a Last of Us board game.
Dude, that fucking came
out. A couple Kickstarters of some stuff. We talked about Carcassone the other week. There's a co-op game for it. I don't know how that's going to work. Amazing Adventures, the RPG. Some Star Trek Mysteries. D&D Trivia. And we got a nice deeper discussion tabletop. I want to talk about this. Look, I'm going to tell you here, we haven't had a Jumpstart product in a while. And this one, I feel like, is weird. I'm going to put this link into chat here. Because it's a lot of reprints. I think some new cards. And I don't know why. Randomly, they got, like, some basically anime artists or manga artists to do, or people that at least do that style, to do, I'm fairly sure, like, each color has, like, 7 cards that are towards the beginning that are, like, anime style. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but, I mean, why did you do this? Other than, you know, like, pandering to the crowd there? I mean, like...
I mean, you know, and it's a popular style. I don't personally like it, but I do know plenty of people who do like that style.
It's like, for me, I do like reading the occasional manga. Just like, I mean, like, I've read comics. Like, nowadays, there's not a lot of comics that are very interesting that draw my attention. I just have to say that part about that entire thing. And also, it's like, honestly, it's easier to find manga somewhere than it is to find comic books at this point in time.
Yes.
So, That's a thing, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm always up for good reading good things, so I'm okay with it, and I like anime, but it's sort of like, I don't know why we have it. I'm curious. There's like, and like, the collection of stuff kind of questions me sometimes, you know, like they.
Oh, Christina got a reprint.
Yeah.
The War of the Spark. That's weird, because the War of the Spark Planeswalkers worked weird.
Yeah, and they have a couple of them in here. A couple uncommon ones. It's sort of like I look at the reprint list, and there's a lot of reprints in here and a bunch of really good ones. It feels like it's not outside too much, because this is supposed to be, I guess, like a simpler set. Maybe not simpler, but like,
I mean, it's pretty straightforward, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty baseline. I mean, they got a Johnny in here. He's, you know, classic.
Yeah.
He's the Strength of the Pride card, which is like a really good.
I think that's the thing, is like, it's a lot of like really decent stuff. It's just like nothing like, and certainly a lot of stuff that, like, again, it's a reprint set, and it feels like a nice reprint set, and that's like the kind of sad thing, is like, didn't like the Brothers War come out like a week or so ago, and this one's coming out like next week, I think they said. Yeah, releases December 2nd.
Yeah, this is on the 2nd. I mean, they've got a lot of pretty nice, from what I'm seeing, pretty nice planeswalkers. They got the good old Gideon, also known as the Beef Slab.
Mm-hmm.
He has Champion of Justice cards here. You got some of Johnny, he's really good. Oh my, there's so many cards. I have to scroll so far.
It's a lot of cards. It's a big set. I'm not even sure if there is new stuff, because there is a couple of things in here, like, because they have them towards the top, I think, of stuff that I don't recognize. So I'm unsure whether or not they're new, because again, like, in a reprint set, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if they've got a planeswalker for each color.
They do have planeswalkers. They have.
I'm currently on black, which is halfway through the page.
They've got
Liliana, he's good.
Yeah, they've got uncommon Arlen in green, because I was down at green, and any other.
Liliana
one.
Death Majesty, I do like that card. So
they've got Karn Liberated, who's always a interesting one for colorless. Yeah, they do have. It just got to be a new card. Kibu Taki Prince. He's at the beginning of green and the end of green for a full art one.
They've got one of my favorites. Weird. They've got Chandra, Flame Siri. I love that card. Just ideal fire damage to the card.
Yeah. Ronus the Indomitable from Amonkhet, one of the gods. That's a weird one. I don't know if they've got one.
It's a very strange collection of cards here.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, it is feel all over the place.
Yeah, the Dragon Speaker. This feels like it has no theme to it, but I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
These are just, from what I'm scrolling and just glancing, these are good cards.
Yeah, and they got plenty of good ones that I can point out that, like, that's a pretty good card, that's a pretty good card. There might have a couple, like, in quotation, chase cards, I just don't know enough off the top of my head about what would be that there. And, like, you know, I don't know. My big opinion about it is, great, I liked the first Jumpstart, I'm glad they've got another one, it's just, like, it feels unceremonious, like...
Why the anime?
That's a question I also have. Why the anime ones? Because
why just some anime?
Not
all of it.
Yeah, and it looks like those are the only versions of those cards that are printed in that style. Like, you know, it's like, let me just check here. Yeah, like Balan Wandering Knight is only going to be in the anime style. You know, which is kind of unusual.
Old cards. Yeah, should run like Time Spiral.
I'm sure.
We got Urza's Factory down in the lands, which I mean, it's kind of fucking Urza's Factory, Urza's Power Plant. I got Urza cards, man.
Oh, they have a singular snow-covered land, a snow-covered island, and that's it.
That's weird.
The thing is, they also have, I saw one snow-covered thing, so that was a snow artifact creature, Phyrexian Ironfoot, which is from Cold Snap. It's just the fact is, that seems to be the only one. And I'm like, you have one snowland, too.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, was this for them just to be like, hey, we need reprints, so let's just put them all in this set, shove it out.
Yeah, because
that's what this kind of feels like
to
me.
Oh, they got another snowland, but it's like the Shimmering Veil, but it doesn't produce snowman, or do anything with it. They have Seed of Synod, which is an artifact land, but they only have that one, too. Yeah. It's so weird.
I got 4 Urza's cards. You know, they got Urza's Factory, Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, Urza's Tower Home. Hey, I think these were all visited in that D&D game.
Yeah.
At some point.
Well, the Mine, Power Plant, Tower, those are classics. They're from antiquities. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're old.
Treetop Village is old, too. That's from one of the Urza's block. I used those for a long time. A land that becomes a 3/3/8 with trample. I mean, it's just such a weird collection of stuff.
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
But it does feel strange, and very much like someone said, we need reprints, but just put them all in this singular set.
I mean, like, I looked in here, and I noticed that, like, in the artifacts, they have the Bag of Holding from the D&D set, too. Like, in here. I don't know. It's a Bag of Holding, and Adventuring Gear, which has Landfall. I think that's from...
I mean, we got they had Cold Steel Heart in here, which is, I think, another snow card, right?
It is a snow artifact, yeah. But it doesn't need snow mana like the other thing did. The Phyrexian Ironfoot is like, it needs a snow mana that can only be explored from a snow land.
What set were these snow cards from? They're gotta be
Cold Snap.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, Cold Snap was still in the new format of cards, but it was we wanted to finish the Ice Age block because we only did 2 actual sets for it, and so we made one that's a finishing of that block, which is really weird. And they did it, I think, in between Ravnica block, the first one, and Time Spiral. Yeah. It's the weird history of Magic where they're like, years later, let's finish this block of 3 sets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, the thing about these are like... There might be good reprints in here, which would be helpful if you're building a deck. And honestly, like, this is the kind of stuff if you want to, like, draft or just buy a box and have some people bake some decks and play with. This is the good stuff.
The good thing about these reprints is that they're going to lower the price of some stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good.
There's certainly some good things in here. I mean, honestly, there's like some things in here I've seen that I'm like, I like that card. I'm like maybe the only person that plays that card, but they're selling it. Like, I honestly played the Phyrexian Plague Lord, which is again back from the Urza sets, because I'm an asshole and play with a.
Look, I'm a simple person. I see a Johnny, I play a Johnny.
Yeah. The Plague Lord were in a green-black token deck with Grave Pact, where you... Oh, did I sacrifice one of my tokens I made to give this other thing -1/-1? Oh, you also have to... That dies, and you then have to sacrifice a creature? Oops!
Get out of here with that bullshit. Actual worth.
Look, I do have a green-black deck with Grave Pact, and I'm not lying. That's, that's it makes tokens and then causes everybody to sacrifice things. I'm a jerk.
My Imperial Recovery unit is also in here, and that's a Kamigawa card that came out this year.
Yeah,
that's weird.
There are. I noticed there are some reprints from this year already in here too, and like, so it's like, it's weird, but it's Jumpstart set. It's like, this is like stuff I like about Magic, weird reprint sets. Come on, man. I like this stuff. Please Return to your old ways. No? Well, fuck you. At least try. Anyway. That's that. Let's talk about this sorcerer, which, you know, it was really hard for us to find, and, you know...
It took us forever to fucking find this thing. And technically, it's old news, because it's, like, last month, but it was never, like, fucking advertised.
These are really hard to find, because the fact is, like,
Yeah.
I guess I have to start checking D&D Beyond's posts, which I wasn't doing.
I don't ever want to. I mean, I go on D&D Beyond sometimes, but, like...
I forgot where to. Posts? Let me just click backwards here. D&D Beyond
I don't
posts.
actually know where they show that shit.
Alright, I found a place. Let's bookmark this tab and add it to my thing, because, like, I was hoping that, you know, like, I could do like I normally would do and just, like, check, you know, the D&D's website directly. Oh, wait, it's not there. Nothing shows up there nowadays.
D&D Beyond. Yeah, this sorcerer is a thing. It's a little strong, it's my opinion. And it doesn't actually fix the problems present with sorcerer, it's a bandage.
Ugh.
His whole gimmick is you get like 3 subclass spell lists, and you can just pick from. You can just swap those around, and then if you use a meta magic, that is on a spell related to your current phase, you get a sorcery point back.
Is this not necessarily D&D 1, but something that's coming up?
No, this is for Dragonlance.
So this is okay. So I
the new Dragonlance book that comes out soon. I don't have an exact date for that because I haven't really paid attention to it.
A week or two.
Loving Dragonlance. I don't really care about.
It's like a week or two, so it'd be like I was going to put on the topic list either next week or the week after it. Which next week I'm not sure my schedule because that's on PAX Unplugged, and I just realized that today. That's that close. So depending on if I get home at a reasonable time or not on a Saturday, I don't know.
Yeah, the very broken thing with this cool subclass is at 6th level, there are just going to be a bunch of instances where you can use your meta magics for free, which is a little strong. But sorcerer kind of blows, so.
Yeah.
I believe they're touting this as also the sorcerer with the most spells, which is not good, because just give sorcerer more spells. That's their main problem. They don't get enough goddamn spells.
Yeah. You know, it's like... It's a thing that's like all about... Like, the thing I was saying about sorcerer, it was interesting that Wizards tried to separate sorcerer from wizard a little bit more, but in doing so, they didn't really make a good sorcerer, and they honestly should have just... I think it's when they simplified spells, it made everybody kind of the same. It made it that the advantage of a sorcerer versus a wizard disappeared, and so then they had to separate them out, and unfortunately you can't really, because sorcerer is just basically the other side of a coin. And when you take part of the side of that coin, it just kind of sucks.
Big advantage of sorcerer used to be just the way you cast. That doesn't really affect you that much anymore. And not necessarily because wizard isn't needing to re-prep spells all the time. It's that in 5e, at least I found that I don't swap my spells that much comparatively to other editions or even Pathfinder. Because there is just a set of spells in 5th edition that are incredibly amazing that you just don't want to ever not prep.
Yeah. I think it's the thing that, like, even in Pathfinder, you can get to the point in time where you rarely swap spells, but the thing is, like, I feel like it comes up a lot more in something like Pathfinder, especially because you don't have ritual spells.
Yeah, I know. Because when I was doing a wizard in, I don't remember what campaign it was, but I kept running into the problem of sometimes we need this unlocking spell or whatever. I don't want to prep it every single day because there's a lot of... I could use that on a combat spell or a better buff, I'll just have like a bunch of scrolls on hand, and with sorcerer you don't have that issue in Pathfinder.
Yeah. It's a weird thing that like sorcerer and wizard in Pathfinder, though they use the same spell list, feel different enough.
And problem sorcerers, they just have a trash spell list in 5e.
Yeah. I mean, I think they should have kept the same spell list, like, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I just let sorcerer use the wizard spell list because I see no reason not to. I also just give every caster ritual casting because, again, I see no reason for that to be a wizard exclusive ability.
Oh, 5e. We'll continue to talk about the issues you have.
Wizards seems to understand that because everyone gets ritual casting now in 1 D&D, so...
They finally were like, well, that seems like a good idea. I guess we should have done that from the beginning.
I made years ago.
Anyway, so it's a thing. If you want to check it out, it's something that's coming. It's a preview of something in the Dragonlance book coming out.
Dragonlance is cool, but the new book is not a setting book, it's an adventure, so I don't particularly care as much.
Hey, more video game-based board games, because we can't have enough of those. A Last of Us board game.
I've played that game.
Look, I'm going to admit, like, I feel like I've seen someone play through the first game. I haven't played either of them. I haven't seen someone play through the second game. But if I'm talking about the first game, the survival escape from horrible fungal monster section actually, I think, could do very good for an open world group of survivors dealing with shit kind of board game, like a survival board game. That's what it feels like, oops, all fungus-headed monsters. They're different than normal zombies,
Like, the one game I can see actually working as a board game because it's a simple enough concept. It's a zombie game.
Yeah.
Survive on crafting. Hey, those are easy to do in a board game.
Yeah. Like, gotta be honest, like, I don't think I can say much about this one other than I think it was honestly a decent idea. Yeah. It's funded by a lot, because of course it is.
Oh god, yeah, this is such a popular series.
Yeah. It looks like $79 US gives you the standard edition. They have a collector's edition.
Sounds about right for a board game like this.
Yeah. It's got a lot of like minis and stuff.
Miniatures look nice. They look clean and they don't look too fragile. Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, again, like, sometimes some of these video game or TV or movie properties that have board games, I like talking about them anyway, but they're kind of like also like, you're like, what are they doing with this one? This is one of those ones that I see it and I'm like, yeah, this is a good idea. You got one.
I'm not going to be able to judge the quality of minis from pictures, obviously, but they look sturdy. I mean, it's a board game, so you're not obviously going to be transporting them as much as you would normal miniatures, but they look fine.
No.
I mean, nice Ellie holds, looks like that could easily break, but that's minor.
It's, again, most minis, when it has like little areas sticking off.
When you have the little sticking out bits, they break very easily.
Like the gun tips and stuff like that, you'd have to be careful with them. But I feel like this is probably at least one of those board games you're probably not going through a massive amount of war and terror.
Yeah, you're probably not handling your miniatures as much.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you are the person handling your miniatures that much, you probably have an on-hand repair kit for it.
Yeah. You might also be the person painting one of these things and stuff like that. Why don't we just continue to move on? Because I got a bunch of topics here and say, hey, check it out. It's got a couple days left. It's funded by a lot. What website is this here? Okay. I might have talked about this one like up on a Kickstarter or something but I saw this again and saw that Ares Games is distributing this, which is a weird RPG. It's very anime based, but it's also like it's robot mecha, but it's also Arthurian legend, and it's
we did
also
talk about this at one point.
yeah. I thought we did, but it looks like they found a distributor.
That's good.
Yeah.
I remember commenting that this did look interesting, although I'm not a big anime person. I do admittedly love robot anime. And
Yeah.
I do somewhat enjoy school-based anime because sometimes it's funny.
It is very dependent. Nowadays,
Probably very subjective.
like honestly, like nowadays, I have less tolerance for a lot of that stuff that I had in my youth. But again, like it's also like I feel like I spend my time in places I like better, you know. So it's sort of like I've watched a lot of like school-based anime that is kind of like mid to low tier back in the day.
There's a lot of it is trash. I mean, a lot of anime is just trash.
Unfortunately,
so much of it exists.
Yeah, a lot of it exists, and there's plenty of it that can be like. Honestly, there's plenty of it that is trash and still entertaining to watch. It's just
Evangelion is terrible, and it's still a great time.
Yeah, like it's sort of like I've got my trashy anime that I watched, and some decent anime that I watched this season. You know, I can point out I'm like watching like 5 or 6 series. I think 5, and they're fine. You know, none of them are great. That's a sad thing I can say about like this season. None are great, but you know, none feel really terrible. And there's other ones I was going to watch, but maybe I'll just delete them. Honestly. So it's got a distributor now. I don't know if they have a exact date for release at this point in time, it looks like, but Ares has it up on their site. They'll be producing a worldwide distribution, and they'll probably get some physical copies and stuff too. So, good for them. Check it out. If you were interested from before, this is a good place for it to be. Hey, let's talk about crimes.
Crimes. It's illegal.
Yes, it is. But Tiny Epic Crimes is a cooperative or competitive board game about you being a group of detectives solving a crime. And it's very noir. It's like you have 48 hours in-game to do it. It's funded. This looked very fun little board game to play, honestly. I like that it has a cooperative mode where you're working together.
Cooperative? I prefer cooperative board games these days because I get a little selfish sometimes.
I like a board game nowadays that's either cooperative or like just the kind of like more like self-competitive, like you're doing your own thing, and like if you so happen to do better than everybody else, you just so happen to do better than everybody else.
Like Terraform Mars is kind of like that. You're mostly doing your own shit, but you can really fuck other people over.
Everdale? I like that little board game. It's a resource management game where it's just sort of like, oh no, you've managed to put yourself on that spot I wanted to go before me. Dang it.
I mean, I hate Ticket to Ride for many reasons. Of friends being dicks during that game. Same with Catan, which I don't play anymore and haven't played since college. I refuse to play it. It makes me mad.
I can see that. And same with Ticket to Ride. I can see like that kind of thing. It's one of those things that like honestly I like the game, but I can also see where it can go bad. You know, like it's almost like you have to have the right group of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. You have to have some house rules of no dicking each other over too much.
It's sort of like that's the thing about like Ticket to Ride. I like kind of like having the general of like if you dick someone over and it's where you needed to go anyway, that's fine. But like the thing is that game, since you can technically build anywhere, it's sort of like you can really just dick people over for no reason.
Yep.
But it's got like kind of like a decode system. There's evidences and stuff. They got a whole lot of event cards, suspects cards, all this kind of different stuff. It's a little bunch of content in the game.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
For a couple of runs of it.
Yeah. They got a print and play for $20. That's got stuff for everything in it. The base game for $25. I assume that it looks like they're more physical components. Yeah, there's like little wooden pieces and stuff. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, like they kind of like have a bunch of, they've like a deluxe version and stuff like that. And
yeah, you can get more stuff.
So check it out if you're interested. Honestly, it looks like an interesting thing. You know, like a little bit of noir, detective-y board games, and it's funded with 12 less. Hey. I'm going to talk about Carcassone again, because we talked about the big box the other week, and a couple weeks ago, and this just was announced, which is a weird co-op Carcassone game, where I guess you're taking turns putting tiles like you would in the normal Carcassone. But there's like a ghost appearing, and you're trying to work together to pacify the ghost as a team.
Yeah, the Ghost Crusaders are back, and they're gonna beat you up.
I don't know why, but like the little like figures that I feel like are supposed to be your like, you know, priest, warrior lady, like merchant man, I guess, like, you know, old woman with some sheep. Like that's the one that like stands out for me. You're like the old woman with some sheep. Oh, dearie me, I'm going to fight the ghost. I guess you've got some stage advice with your sheep. Fight the ghost.
Yeah, I mean, you
know. Yeah. No, like, taking the tile laying style of Carcassone and making a game that's a little bit more cooperative seems fun. Honestly, I'm more up for that. Again, the same thing we were talking about with co-op games earlier. It's the same reason. I like a good game of Carcassone, but it can be, you know, I feel like that's one of those weird ones that's like maybe not as competitive just because you're just taking tiles from a bag and placing them down and hoping it works.
There's a random element to it, which makes it less competitive. It's why, I mean, well, Terraform Mars is technically a competitive game because of the randomness. It's not really that competitive at times.
Yeah, but still, something that's definitely built to be more cooperative is nice.
Yeah.
So. That's again something that if you like Carcassone, you might want to check this out.
I've never played Carcassone.
I'm a fan of it. It's just I don't have a lot of excuses to play it, and I have a physical copy somewhere. And I forgot, and I keep forgetting that happened. That some stuff on one of my like low shelves here fell over, and I haven't picked it up yet.
Was it Damien?
No, I think it was Gravity. Eventually, like you know.
Gravity will get you eventually.
I mean, it took it like, honestly, like years to make it all fall over. So, I mean,
least expected.
Gravity, you know, it works over time.
It's a slow, insidious killer.
It really kind of is. So, you know, that's something to check out too. Hey, Amazing Adventures, the multi-genre RPG. It's up on Indiegogo, which is a little different than our normal places. Yeah, that we talk about things. Let me just press that, throw that there. So it's using the Siege engine, which I've heard of games that use the Siege engine before. And it looks to be at, I don't know how Indiegogo works, but it's at least reached its base goal. It has a flexible goal, they say.
Yeah, I don't really know this site that much, and I hate that. I tried to Google what Siege engine is, and I didn't specify tabletop. So, you know, I just got a bunch of pictures of trebuchets.
I don't know a lot about it. I've heard of it before. That's hearing about it is one thing. Knowing how to play it is entirely another thing.
What is this weird ass?
They say Castles and Crusaders is in it, and they say it's fully compatible, which might mean that they also did this, or that might be like the basic that came out with the Siege RPG system.
I don't know.
Yeah. It introduces a bunch of character classes that work in Modern Rules Engine. Some classic. Okay, so brand new classes and some classic classes that I'm guessing are fantasy ones that you can use in more modern rules. Firearms, vehicle rules. I'm guessing the original one, which is the Castles and Crusades, or one of the original, was a fantasy one. So like this is like, hey, we're introducing it that you can use it in a lot more genres because we're setting it that you can go now more modern.
The end appears to just be a stripped down 2d20 system.
Okay.
Of third edition origin.
All right.
Well, it's pretty easy to pick up and learn.
Yeah. Cool. So, I'm all for multi-genre systems. A system that's made more to be multi-genre is always so much better than, like, I don't know, 5e with yet another coat of skin on top of it, which does its best, but...
Anything that isn't GURPS makes me happy. So.
Yeah, and as much as I like Bessem, Bessem is stylized in such a way that, like, yes, it's multi-genre, but you're always going to feel that, like, the twing of anime in it, you can't get away from it.
You can't escape the anime. Shocking that you cannot escape anime in the system called Big Eyes, Small Mouth.
You can try your darndest, but there's always this little grain of it down in there.
Shocking that the anime system contains too much anime.
I mean, honestly, you can do a lot of different things with that system. It's just, again, it's just in the way it's built. You'd have to be like, don't use these anime things in this game. Please don't.
Here's a list of anime tropes. Please avoid them.
Yes. So again, a multi-genre system that can do a little bit of stuff like, they're building this so it can be used in things like pulp, space opera, romance, urban fantasy, gunslinging, swashbuckling from the 16th century. Like that's they're saying they're like, we're making this system, which was originally a fantasy system, and updating it in a way that it can be used just in anything as a 2d20 system, and that's nice. So, yeah. Again, it's, I guess, funded on Indiegogo?
It looks like it's funded,
I guess there's more goals or something with the flexible goals, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Check it out if you're interested. It looks like, they kind of got, like, stretch rewards or something.
Indiegogo's a weird one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not that weird. It's just I don't use it enough to really understand too much about it.
I wanted to bring it up because it's free. Hey, look, we got another Star Trek Adventures mission brief for free. It's mysteries. So it's basically a bunch of like ideas. Again, if you haven't seen these before or heard us talk about them, they're basically like the core concepts and ideas for a Star Trek adventure, like episode, or little adventure you do. It doesn't have like a lot of the stuff built for it, but it's sort of like, here's what you like, some concepts, some ideas, some things that you need to start out with. It's the core of like an adventure you do, and this one's more mystery based things, which is kind of neat. So something strange and weird is going on, and your Star Trek crew is going to check it out. Hey, now you can pull this out and just be like, hey, look at this, I got some neat ones.
True.
I continue to really like these. And they got 10 mysteries that in here, too.
It's meant for the original series era, but you can modify it for everything else.
Yeah. So it's like...
Easy enough.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about these. It's like one of those things of like, these are really like neat, and I'm really glad they keep putting them out, but it's sort of like hard to be like, hey, check them out other than that, It's one of those things.
the only thing I can say is I don't know why, but every time I see one of these Star Trek things, my mind doesn't go to Star Trek, it goes to Futurama. With fucking good old Zap Brannigan.
Look, sometimes you just need some good velour.
Look, those killbots, they just have a kill limit, so, you just gotta keep throwing your men at them until it's reached, right?
Yes, exactly. killbots. When will you not be killing everybody? You know, when will you not be murdering everybody in a horrible, horrible way?
True.
So, yeah, Star Trek Commission. And I got one more main topic today on the there we go, on the old news list. Hey, Trivial Pursuit D&D's Ultimate Edition up on the USAopoly. I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge Trivial Pursuit people. I think I was talking about this with Momo before. I do like a good trivia game, honestly. So it's kind of like one of those ones is like, oh god. Some of these I don't know if I would know. I like looking at this card. What is your alignment change if you equip the Eye or Hand of Vecna? Who were the two authors of the original 1974 D&D game? I never remember the other guy.
David something.
Which of these is not an aberration? Beholder, Intellect, Lavo, Slad, or Umberhulk? What inexpensive preserved food do old school adventurers carry with them to dungeons? In Dragonlance, the Servani and Questali are what type of humanoids?
I know that one, because Dragonlance gives stupid-ass names to their elves.
I work. Which plane of existence do spawns demons? Oh, the Abyss. That's an easy one.
That's an easy one. You just dealt with that. You're a terrible video game.
I'll talk about that today. Maybe we'll talk about that before we get into our main topic. Just get it out of the way. Look, I gotta be honest. Like, this is like one of those ones that I like a good trivia game, and this one kind of tests your trivia a little bit. It's kind of nice, in a way. You know, like if someone told me they had D&D Trivial Pursuit, I'd be like, I'm in for it. I'm not a big trivia...
1,800 questions? That's a lot of trivia.
I know. Man. God, it's $50 though.
Yeah, I can't wait for this to come out, and then, you know, we need another one of these.
I see why they're doing it for... Oh, they put like little figures in there that are actually like really decent. That's where they're getting us to spend their money on it. Yes, damn you!
Very good.
Damn you! Damn you all!
And then right below it is Monopoly Dungeons and Dragons, and then Yahtzee Dungeons and Dragons, and then Clue Dungeons and Dragons.
At least the Clue one, you're trying to say, who's the doppelganger? Or something like that. Who's murdered this person with what and where? And is the really
time?
Anyway. So, I mean, like, this is something. Hey, I guess I'll do my, my weekly, let's semi-complain about, freaking, what's it called? Pathfinder, Wrath of Righteous. Alright. So, Wrath of the Righteous. Going back to Galarian in that game for Act 5 feels more and more out of place going to the Abyss, I'm gonna be honest. I actually found a way to cheese that quest that I was able to save both of them, and it was really stupid, and it turns out there is a kill line in the one saving the one person that if you cross it, it triggers the enemies, and then it basically kills the other two. I just dimension doored across, opened the doors where the guards were kept, while the demons that were still standing there just basically stood there and did nothing. Dimension doored back, and basically the guy was like, thank you for saving them, I'll go now! And then I just went and saved the other people, and it saved both of them. It was very silly. It was very silly, and I liked it a lot doing it, I'm gonna be honest. And it's very interesting how, like, in Wrath of Righteous, the adventure path, does Iomedae randomly show up to be like, hi guys, do you want to talk to a goddess for a little bit?
I don't remember. I feel like no, but I mean it might be tied to one of the mythic paths.
I gotta be honest, like, the reason why you're mythic in this one feels stupider and stupider.
What?
The plotline is, at the beginning of the game, big demon attack from the World Wound, and basically this demon was experimenting with mythic power, with basically divine power, used a shard of what is effectively dead demon lords and instilled it into you to grant you abilities, and then you effectively use that shard to find your divinities. So it's really, you've got like demon lord power that you've turned into like angelic, which is kind of weird. Or like whatever path you took, it turns it into that, which is still kind of weird. I mean, the storyline of, like, you know, if the Demon Lord dies, it reforms, and if you kill it again within a year, it basically goes to this one area of the Abyss where their, like, corpses are. That's an interesting storyline. I think that's canon about something that you can technically...
Spoilers for the... It's an old-ass dungeon path, I don't care. Yeah, she does show up in the dungeon path.
Okay.
She basically, like, shows up and fucking, you know, bitches at you.
That's kind of what she did too, but in like a different way. She's like, you shouldn't do this power. It was really cool because it's an actually interesting choice, because you can choose to get rid of all of your mythic abilities and basically take this legend path, which the legend path opens up that you can get to level 40. Which is one of those things that I thought about it. It would be interesting. But the fact is, they build your characters to use the mythic abilities so much up to that point in time, it would hit you so hard. And yes, maybe I could get to level 40 and the experience ups would be very easy at that point in time, and I could have another 20 levels of something, but it's like, what the fuck do I give people that would, like, supplement them at that point in time? I have no idea. Because I'm giving, like, 40 levels for all the other characters, I think. Or is it just me? I don't know. Do they keep all their mythic levels normally and only you go up to level 40? I'm just not sure. And it's just, like, it's kind of like this weird path to take. And I'm just like, I'll just be angelic and just take the normal path.
Yeah, I mean, it's in character for her to kind of to do that.
Yeah.
She's kind of a dick.
Yeah. But then, like...
She's like a crusader god.
Now, it was kind of a BS to rebuild my entire army, but there was this little thing that apparently recharges once a week, where I can increase the number of, like, a certain group of units with, like, Divine Blessing, which was really cool. And I just basically... There's a group of angels. They gave me like 100 angels, and I used it on them, and I got 175 angels. And I'm going to keep using it on them to have all the angels in the universe and then murder all my enemies, because those angels are goddamn pretty powerful. And normally, you get like 5 at a time once a week. So I'm like, oh, I can abuse this.
Yeah, right, okay. I do remember this, because I was her paladin. So she was like super cool with me and was a dick to everyone but me.
Ah.
I was her paladin. She deals a lot of damage to you if you're not good. Cause that's the thing. I think she can deal like 20d something sonic damage to you if you fuck up enough. Which is enough to kill most things.
Yes.
It's almost like she's a deity.
I think it's just one of those things is like, I feel like their storyline is weaker than the original one.
Yes. Everything I've seen, it is a much weaker storyline. Granted, the AP is quite old at this point, and it does have its plot issues. But I feel that the game story is much weaker because you are in charge of the crusade rather than just being the heroes of it.
Yeah, and like...
That's the main problem for me from it.
I mean, like, again, rebuilding my army, the once a week I can abuse the shit out of it to get 1 billion angels feels like because the thing is, it's like, it's randomly in one of your armies, in one of the things you click on. But the thing is, you are literally able to go to your army, separate a group of units out. Oh, now this group of angels is separated out. Now I can just target them and increase them. So it's sort of like, why do you say that, like, if you target a specific army, it randoms it, when I can just make a new army with the unit I want?
They didn't think that was a thing, and they maybe don't know about it.
It's like such a simple thing of, like, you can always separate your armies out and mix and match them, because, like, there's way too many different types of units. And it's sort of like, I was going to get some clerics back, and then I took a look and I'm like, and like 3 seconds in, they gave me a unit better than clerics.
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm like, oh, so I don't have to rebuild my cleric army. I can just build these guys here. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's some stuff that's, like, I like now, and they also gave me some abilities that I can apparently, like, partially nuke some enemy armies. So I'm like, okay, you removed what I had built up, but then you just give me, like, all these cheat codes now. And I'm just, like, it just feels weird.
I don't remember much of the AP because I haven't played it since 2015.
Yeah.
So it's certainly been a while.
It's one of those ones that, like, I honestly, at this point in time, don't know if... Like, I've looked at APs, and, like, certainly that's one you could play through, but you're, like, that one's, like, I can't play through that on stream, I feel like.
No, it's too long for... One, it's way too long for a stream game. Two, Mythic is fucking weird. Mythic is hard. Mythic is hard to run.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend any campaign that goes to 20 for a stream game. It's too much.
Oh, yeah. No, I can see that.
I know when we... Because we get bogged down on rules on simple shit sometimes in Buccaneers. We would get bogged down so much on Mythic shit. Because there's a lot of Mythic rules.
Mythic opens up a whole new quagmire. It's not a bad quagmire, but it becomes a lot harder. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, I feel like you want experience out of stream. Like, kind of like, as bad as Carrying Crown was, it was at least an introduction back into first edition.
It made me... I will always be kind of thankful for that game, because it made me remember what I like about Pathfinder when I actually play it.
Yeah. It's, the Catch-22, Pathfinder First Edition has some good things. You know, it has some bad things. We've talked about it before, in comparison, like, to 5th Edition. And certainly, like, I don't think Buccaneers would have been great with 5e, with how long the campaign and how high level it's getting to.
I don't think... Well, the pacing would be wrong, because you power scale a lot quicker in 5e than you do in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
In Pathfinder, it just kind of wouldn't work, because... you're expected to have so many items to progress in Pathfinder versus 5e, where at most you're kind of expected to have like 3 good items and then some situationals.
But I do have to say, Buccaneers power scaling is a lot harder to judge.
Yeah, because we have the added thing of we need to build a boat and maintain a boat. It's the same problem the Kingmaker AP has, because you need to dump money and time into your kingdom instead of into your character.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Yeah, I remember, like Lightning did a high-level D&D game for, like, a session, and just trying to figure out, because you have to figure out your 3 attuned items, and then, like, get items that aren't attune-based. It's like, what the hell do you pick up? Because they do have recommendations for magic items. I think it's Tasha's or something had that.
It just has recommendations for items, yeah.
At different levels, I think. Yeah. So we kind of like went with one of those recommendations because we were pretty high level, and it's
or something.
Yeah, and so it's like just trying to figure that out is just like, damn. And that's kind of hard. The attunement is just hard to figure out.
Doing a high level one shot is hard, but playing up to high level in 5e is a lot easier because you're not doing it all at once.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I know I certainly struggled picking 3 goddamn items for my character in that one shot. And I played a paladin, which is hit thing with sword.
It's something that I reflect upon that, like, you know, D&D 5e and its magic items, it doesn't know what it wants with those magic items, almost, it feels like.
Once the DM to control what items a party gets in a more direct way, because you can't buy items in 5e. You can buy items in side tangent. You can buy items in 5e. However, they don't give you exact prices. You get a price range, so most of the time they want you just to find them as loot. So you can't, as a player, be like, I want to go buy bracers with archery, because they don't give a solid price for that.
Yeah.
So the GM kind of has to.
Oh wait, Lightning's joining us. Chat about this kind of thing because it is a side tangent to this entire
It is
thing.
a mega side tangent.
But it's a good
very
one.
easily become our for discussion. We should have a discussion about magic items one day.
Let me switch this over to that's the 4-player. That's the 3-player.
Hello.
Hi. We're holding this thought.
I'm holding it. I'm cherishing this
How
thought.
could, join and rejoin?
Hello.
Oh, hi.
You are audible now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Also, I have to reload Twitch.
Discord's been having issues the past couple of days. I don't know what's up with Twitch. Twitch is just kind of garbage.
Well, it crashed like when I joined. Like,
nice.
Discord hoarded all my bandwidth and then broke. I don't know what happened. It was really weird. So anyway, as someone who has read a whole bunch of, well, I might be getting louder as I talk.
Yeah, Lightning's mic is weird.
Yeah, it doesn't work if I turn whatever this mode is off. Like, if I turn this off, it just breaks. So I just have to be quiet for a little bit.
Yeah.
But as someone who's, like, read through, like, basically all the important bits of the DMG, and then Xanathars has a whole bunch of suggestions. I mostly ignore Tasha's as a DM, basically.
Useful, but situationally and kind of broken.
Tasha's is really good for players, because it makes, like, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that's kind of shit, and we're going to give it updates.
Not really a DM book.
Yeah, but it's designed in a way, because I think 5e is a callback to classic Dungeons & Dragons, where you go into a dungeon, you find loot, and then you leave with that loot. And not always are you going to find the loot that you need, right? Because it's have random tables. Everything is a random table. So and there's like, is it individual loot? Is it horde loot? And so the thing is, and I think this is baked into the rules, and I think a lot of people just forget about this because they're like, wow, that's dumb, I'm gonna do my own thing. But it's baked into the rules that you spend, like, your downtime to, quote unquote, sell a magical item. And basically it's like, oh, well, what kind of tier is it? You know, is it attunement? And so you would sell that item in your downtime to trade it for something that actually works for your character. So you kind of have that, like, oh, am I going to find something really good? And then later you have the thing where it's like, okay, well, you didn't get what you wanted, right? So let's spend some time, and you can, you know, trade that in for something that is actually more useful to you.
It's such a weird thing. Yeah.
The reason I agree, and this is because 5e primarily uses Faerun lore, right? People forget, just before 5th edition, the world basically exploded.
Yeah.
So you gotta find all your shit in the ruins that are left behind. That's more or less what they want you to do. Because it uses Faerun lore for its mechanics most of the time.
God. Like, some Faerun lore is just so stupid, though.
I agree, but that's just the setting they use mostly.
They've got too much world explodiness.
There was the big spell plague that did blow up and kill a lot of people.
But doesn't, like, the 5th, like, spell problem or weird thing that was going on?
Yeah, Mister keeps dying. She's gonna die. The joke is she's gonna die again before one D&D releases.
Yeah. You know, it's this.
Oops, Mister's dead again.
She just dies again. Some other apocalypse happens. Oh, magic's different again now. Oops.
Again, like, is one of those things is I've never liked magic items in 5e. I feel like they're just like, it almost feels like they don't want them sometimes.
They're meant to more be a reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're designed so that, like, hey, you guys are gonna fight this dude who's immune to magic or resistant to magic. Have some magic stuff before this fight.
A good way to learn how they want you to hand out magic items is to read through an adventure path, basically.
Yeah.
Because this is something like Lost Mines has a bunch of magic items in it, and it gives you them early because you will start dealing with stuff requiring them later at the end.
Gives you an idea.
gives you an idea of how you're meant to lay it out.
Mm.
Because Lost Mines is a series of dungeons, and it has at least one magic item per dungeon.
Okay, like again, like it's that weird thing of like I understand like I don't know. I've always been used to more of like the even in older editions, it felt more like from my experience from like AD&D Beyond, it always felt like magic items were more of a thing that was a thing to your character that you kind of as you leveled up you'd gain some more and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that feeling is lost in 5e because you don't need as many to be powerful. All of your power in 5e comes from your class.
Yep.
Whereas in older editions, it came from your items.
And that might have been to reduce bloat, because if you look at Pathfinder, the amount of magical items in Pathfinder is insane.
It's a lot.
And even if you're like not even talking the expansion books, right? Just like
base rules, there
core
are
plus one
so
book.
many.
Yeah.
It's a weird trade-off, I think, and I think that's one of those things. You get rid of a bunch, but you also do get rid of some of the bloat. And I don't know if there's middle ground.
I think it's overall good because, 5e lacks a lot of kind of more generic magic items. They have a lot more interesting ones.
I think that's why Pathfinder 2e feels a little better, because I think they streamline that a little bit more. So they try to be more in that middle ground where I think I like it better, Yeah,
because a lot of... I'll use Pathfinder, so sure. A lot of Pathfinder is item that gives you +1. Okay, you will sell this and get item that gives you +2 later.
Yeah.
5e removes a lot of
that. And Pathfinder, Pathfinder and 5e are both games of +1s, but the difference is the +1s scale up faster for Pathfinder 2. Because, if you get a +3 item, like a sword or armor in 5e, that's you'll just dominate everything because it's a very low DC kind of game. Where in Pathfinder, it's you're gonna want +3 stuff eventually.
Yeah.
I think it is one of those things too that again, saying Pathfinder 2e does it a little better, because they are a little bit more closer to D&D because that +1 makes more of a difference a lot more times. It becomes a lot more of a system of the small +1s and stuff rather than the big ones, and they do things like, oh hey, this magic sword, rather than just +1, it also does an extra dice of damage or something like that, or something like a lot more of that kind of stuff.
I add that back into 5e because I think that's really cool. I've added here's an adamantine sword. Well, what does it do? Well, technically it doesn't really do anything in 5e, so I'm going to make it do an extra die of damage. And it also counts as masterwork, so it's a +1 to attack rolls, but not damage. And Mithril basically has the keen property by default. Mithril armor has not only is it half the weight, but it also will reduce stealth penalties, so you don't get disadvantage on stealth for heavy armor and stuff.
Yeah.
I add that stuff back in, so it's hard for me when people are like, oh, the 5e sucks. It's well, I'm not playing base 5e.
No, we don't play.
So that's why I get defensive about it.
Yeah, no, I can agree that if you're not playing base 5e, if you're playing something that's a lot more homebrewed and a lot more work that you've done yourself, it is better, and you've made the game, you're improving the game, which is not bad. The game system is built for that. I like to complain about the base system because I feel like I don't mind that homebrewing stuff. I just feel like relying on it is a crutch that I don't like that Wizards has done. It's sort of you can have that homebrew stuff for Pathfinder, but it feels like you don't need it as much in Pathfinder, and I think that's the difference, and that's kind of been my complaint a lot of times.
Only homebrew you should have to add to your game is the Spell Explode Goblin.
Specifically one goblin.
Just a singular goblin. You deal 100 d10 to that one goblin.
I feel like there is more to be done with talking about magic items, but I really wanted to hit a different topic today. So maybe I'll put magic items more in
be on the list.
Depth. We might have already talked about it before. I'll have to check. I'll put a star next to this to check and stuff. But I did actually want to talk about a very interesting topic for deeper discussion today. And it's something about people that, we all play our characters in D&D. But, the thing is, not all of us are Eric or Cell, or even myself when I'm playing a character.
Yeah.
There are plenty of us, somebody more like, honestly, Blaze, who play very simple characters that are not much different than themselves. And that's what I want to talk about, because there are plenty of people that you really don't roleplay a lot more other than just you.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing, but it is a thing to kind of talk about, because it's how do I want to brace this? The process of you don't need to be a huge character in a D&D game. You can be something that's just a division or an extension of who you are, and it's not a bad thing. It's a game that when you're playing a character, there are a lot of different ways to play a character, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah.
Certainly, for me, I'm a DM. I've got plenty of skill when it comes to playing over the top things or weird things or stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I've played a lot of versions of characters that could probably reflect things about me too.
Your sassiness.
Look, the sassiness is more nowadays. As I've gotten older, I've become sassier. I admit that.
I'm never gonna forget the time I introduced a 2,000-year-old ancient archmage ghost, and your 20-year-old character was like, "You're dumb." You're dumb and didn't think that through.
Look, the sass was strong with me. I'm not going to deny that. I can't remember why I sassed them, really.
I don't know why anyone sassed them.
It was because, hey, I did something and it really made a bad, things
Hey,
broke.
the thing I did broke the world.
And it's wow, in hindsight, that's really bad. You should have known better. It's what? Yeah, if only you were travel to the future.
Well, if you could see what the future would be from your decision making.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's a little bit of me.
A little bit of you always shines through on a character. It's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard to not have that.
But
because you need a tether to your character.
It also helps you kind of get into their mindset. Even if you just take one aspect, I blah aspect about myself, I'm gonna put that in my character. It makes it so you can connect with that character better, as opposed to just I'm gonna play a homicidal maniac. You might not be able to play that very well.
Who would have to play one of those?
You can certainly if you're playing a game where it would be maybe appropriate to be a homicidal maniac, some kind of evil
Aren't many,
campaign.
By the way.
Some kind of evil campaign where it would be appropriate in, where there'd be a good reason behind it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying there isn't a campaign. The thing is, that you're probably not pulling a lot of yourself in it. You might use what you know, which is sort of well, I've seen this TV show that shows off Hannibal Lecter. I could just play Hannibal Lecter, I saw the Silence of the Lambs movie, That's a way to do it, and certainly playing characters you've seen is fine, but again, it's that you're probably still gonna do a little bit of what yourself is, because you're not gonna get away with it.
I know a character that I played semi recently. I don't remember how long ago this game was. Yutsuko in your game.
That was last year or something.
That was time is meaningless. I don't care what day it is. I never know what time it is. The Xbox came out 1 year ago. Leave me alone. Don't call it retro. But
Which
yeah,
Xbox?
360. That fucker's like 17 years old now.
Oh.
But at the core of her character was very much something of myself, which is she's just a person who wanted everyone to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that was very much the core of her character. Granted, it got a little derailed when the goblin was introduced, and I memed. But you know, that's also part of me. I like goblins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you kind of need some baseline of yourself in a character, I feel.
And I think the thing is, like, other than that baseline you're going to have, you can put yourself, like, again, like, if I make myself as random fighter, I could do a version of me as a random fighter. Like, I think for me, it's harder to because I'm good at those characters. But if you're not good at those characters, knowing yourself is the first thing you do. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
The hardest character I've ever had to play was 4 Records of Evil. Because Docs was an asshole. He was a piece of shit who was a terrible person. He is like the exact opposite of me. I am not like a very outspoken douchebag like he was. I had a lot of difficulty role-playing that kind of character. Because there was nothing of me in that character.
It's sort of like, I can say, like, there's certain characters I can point out that have parts of me in them, but there are also ones that are, like, very different, like Genric. He was a generic human.
I'd say you're a pretty generic human.
I'm a pretty generic human. But the thing is, Genric was very different from me because, like, he's something that I've experienced in my life, but I wasn't. He was a sports star in, like,
fucking jock.
rural, like, backwaters town.
He was fucking that football player from, like, Idaho.
Yeah.
That made it to college football or some shit.
You know, and then, and you know, when, like, he couldn't go any farther than college football, he decided to go, like, to become a cop. You know.
That's too real.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, I never went to small town. As much as, like, I'm in an area of Pennsylvania. Guess where I went to school? I went to school in the suburb, it's still technical suburbs of Philadelphia, in Bucks and Montgomery County. It's pretty big schools there. You know, a lot of people.
You know, I could very easily play someone from small town USA because that's where I've lived all of my life. I've lived in places that had a collective population around me of like 5.
That's that's not a lot.
That's the Appalachia for you, baby.
It is, but I feel like it's a thing that, like, I can bring in, like, I understand what it is to be a person, and, like, you know, I understand these portions of reality, but it's sort of like, and I can bring in the aspect of me which is kind of just like a person. And I think it's sort of this, like, it's a weird thing of, I think there's like this is a tough conversation to talk about because sort of like when I'm just going on about like, oh, you can bring yourself in, and that's like, okay, yeah, but like I'm also trying to be like, you can bring in as much or as little of you as you're comfortable with, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with just playing yourself, but they swing a sword.
Yeah. You're the dude that is you, but swings a sword.
Yeah. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, you but swings a sword definitely exists in D&D somewhere. There's a dude pretty close to you in Faerun with a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Or spells, or bow, right?
Bow is a thing.
Bows are a thing. So are crossbows. Not firearms, however, because those don't exist in Faerun.
Maybe not 5th edition. Maybe like Galarian or.
Technically, they do exist in 5th edition.
Oh, sorry.
They
Yeah,
do.
they have
I don't
NPC stats.
I don't remember where in
In the
Forgotten. I don't remember where in the Forgotten Realms they do actually exist, but they do exist somewhere.
Yeah. They're crap in the 5.
They're
5e
pretty.
book.
They're pretty bad.
So I made them better, and they also are like less shit versions, I think, in my world. I mean, I have 2 different ones, so it's hard.
Well, it's like it's easy for me because like I've joked with my in-person friend group before. We're just like people that obviously like you can't translate it perfectly. If I'm talking Pathfinder, we're just some people that have levels of expert. We really are. We just have like a bunch of levels of expert.
Look, if I would play my true self in one of these fucking games, I would have to take the chef seat. I'm not doing that. All right? No, I'm not taking the chef seat.
If the chef seat was better, it wouldn't be that bad. It's like worse inspiring leaders.
It's just a bad feat.
Pathfinder, you can use your extra human skill.
Yeah,
Profession cook.
Profession cook. Which I might do on a character one day. I don't know. Cooking never fucking comes up in these goddamn games.
Professions occasionally, but that's about it. But like certainly never in like 5e.
No, you don't really do people work in 5e. Your job is to go kill the goblins.
Like it's a difference. Like 5e again, it's not a bad style, but it's a much more heroic style than let's say like Pathfinder.
You're superheroes in 5e.
Yeah,
kind of. You're the big mythical hero.
Pathfinder, you're probably slightly better than your average person. But guess what?
Yes.
There's somewhere out there. There's a person that's just as like many levels of whatever you are, or more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're a new player, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just playing yourself.
Yeah.
Just
play.
Be you.
Yeah. Just play to have fun, I think, is the best way to put it on.
I tend to not try to play too much of just myself, but again, like, there's always a little nugget of myself in most characters I make. Some of them, there's none. Like, if I'm playing an evil character, I feel too much remorse to play evil characters. I feel bad when I pick the dialogue option in the video game that makes an NPC sad. So I don't want to make NPCs sad in D&D.
See, I'm usually the same, but I have the ability to turn that off. So if I need to, I can be like the jerk.
There's one instance that I can turn off, and it's in Mass Effect 2 where you shove the dude out the window. It was death 1,000. It's the Merc dude in the one tower where you get to Thane. In the Renegade option, you should just push him to his death as he falls thousands of feet.
Oh, jeez.
Because, I don't know, Shepard's fucking asshole.
Man.
He just shoves him out a window. He's just Shepard's a dick. Don't play Shepard in D&D.
I think that's one of those things is, don't do that. That, like, Wrath of Righteous is like, I just normally choose the good options because I'm sorry. A lot of, like, the bad options or the chaotic options, the bad options are comically evil.
Yes. This is another side tangent, alright?
Mm-hmm.
Moral choices. We should have a conversation on that at some point. But, moral choices in video games are always like, the good option is the base level of being a decent human being, and the bad option is I stomp on your baby in front of you.
Yeah. And like, well, okay, they have a chaos option. I'm going to tell you, you know what the chaos option is? The chaos option is, I'm just going to be the craziest dick / jester there is. It's sort of like, just like, it's like, oh, the goddess is there. Prank the goddess! That's the chaos option. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That'll end well, I'm sure.
It's like, you're like, mwahaha, your babies have been stomped. You're like, it's like, or like, up, what happened? There's prank or something terrible. I'm sorry, the options are just so stupid. Oh, so bad.
I also never really play human in D&D as a response to chat.
I mean, I play a human in real life.
I'm already
play one in D&D.
I'm already a human.
The only exception was when we were doing the Underdark game, which we usually don't speak about.
That
is
is fucking crazy.
if I was going to die in that game, because it was a very like Underdark, so it's like the Dark Elves.
Death was pretty
and,
likely.
Some other people I don't remember that were down there.
There were some dwarf assholes. And
it's basically Dark Elves, Dark Dwarfs, and
Deep Gnome.
Deep Gnome is the other one. Yeah, those were the big three. And
Snarf Goblin.
There was I don't like that name. There was a spattering of other things. I was playing one of the other things, and I joked because it was like, oops, all exotic people basically. That if I died, I was gonna come back and play like just a dude, like a human dude who's just like, I don't know why I'm down here. I got weird shadow powers. I guess I'll help, because that would have been not the normal.
Would have been kind of funny.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really funny kind of thing, where it's like, I just play like this dude who's just like, I don't know, because it's like, oh, well, humans don't have dark vision. It's like, well, if you're a shadow monk,
if you're the shadow monk, you get it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I'd
sure.
be fine.
I would 100%, I allowed it. If you would died.
Yeah.
That's perfect if you make that character, because you almost died like 4 times.
I did get beat up a lot in that game.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing that I like. I actually, because I don't play as much nowadays, and I've finally gotten back into playing, I like do a little bit more variety. But I have to admit, when I was doing a lot of Pathfinder, I defaulted to humans so much, because I'm sorry, human in Pathfinder is really good.
I tend to play elf, tiefling, or just whatever the weirdest shit is.
Yeah, man.
Misty's the first human I played, like, seriously. I don't count Cole as a character because I was not conscious for most of that game. I was mostly, I'll be honest, I played Final Fantasy for most of that fucking game. I wasn't needed.
I was needed like 50% of the time.
You were barely fucking needed.
You were in the game.
It was your fucking game. Misty's the first human I played in a very long time.
It's an interesting thing, like a generic. I made him as a human because honestly, I thought it was very funny, and and the character I liked a lot too. I mean, his name was Generic Hammond.
Generic human.
Yeah.
Who liked family because he was raised by halflings.
I really liked playing my snake lady.
It was a fun game to run.
Oh, I think all our characters were good.
I liked everyone.
Yeah. I think we had a good team. We had like the angsty teenage Kitsune.
You had the boomer.
We had the boomer.
Yeah, we had a
2 days
boomer.
from retirement.
We had horny bard, but they were horny sorcerer. I literally had horns. I don't know if I had horns.
You did literally have horns.
Oh wow! I was literally horny.
Very bad at driving cars though.
Well, I didn't have legs.
They have adaptation for that. They have like the stick where or like the thing where these like buttons up the thing.
I had like the jack-in thing.
Yeah.
Where I could like plug into a computer.
Jack into a car.
Yeah, jacked
literally, and like plugging yourself in. You stole the fucking car.
And I ran someone over with
it. You have splattened someone against the wall.
It was a general move. Who cares?
He did have 10 HP.
He was just a dude, and he got smashed by
He was
a car.
A dude.
He deserved it, alright?
He was just doing his fucking job.
Yeah, well, his job was being evil. Oh, man, throat.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
There's like, just do what you're comfortable with when you roleplay.
I think the big thing is it's acceptable to do anything. Yeah. And I think that's the important. Anything that as long as it fits, as long as it fits in the game you're playing.
Fits in the game and it's within moral reason.
Yeah.
Don't do the red flags you see on RPG horror stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's It's like you have to. I think it's the same thing that you kind of with most people is like play the character that you think would fit into the world that you're given, because you as a person fit into the world you are given. I think it's the same thing. And so within that kind of limit, you can do anything. And so certainly just playing, you having a good time, I think that's the point of it. And like you can do something very simple. You don't have to be super creative. You don't have to have like weird like guy who was orphaned and raised by halflings who fought in giant mechs in high school and then went into the law, because his dad, I guess, was the sheriff of the local town.
And then fast the ancient wizard. It was more powerful than you could ever imagine.
Look, I don't think I've.
But she, when she was basically 21 years old, was forced into a position to literally save the fucking planet. Oops, she made a slightly bad decision.
Look, I probably didn't have the full information on that story. I was just being sassy.
No, because no one asked her.
Yeah. Yep. So, I think that's about that on that one. I think that's a good place to be with that. To just keep in mind. Hey, you know what we should talk about? What we did this week in gaming. So.
That's true. We did things.
Last Sunday.
Oh, you did a thing. Hey, my throat hurts, so please talk for me.
Yeah. Fireball.
Yeah, there was a fireball that almost freaking killed everyone.
There was a fireball that nearly killed me.
I think nobody made their save.
No. Everyone failed their save. I think
you
forgot
lived
something. Which
you
made
lived
you
because
save by,
of the
No.
warding bond.
I didn't save. The warding bond absorbed damage and threw it onto the cleric for me.
Who has a shit ton of HP.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. He absorbed all the damage for me.
Yeah.
Plus his own fireball that he got hit
Plus
with.
his own fireball.
Yeah. But yes, no, that was it was wonderful.
That was the session of no one rolling above 10.
I mean, that was the first half, because then you fought horrible abominations.
The second half was everyone getting natural 20s apparently.
Oh, there was so many crits. But like the quote unquote boss fight, you rolled atrociously on, and then he fucked off. And then you fought some of these weird shadow monsters, and were failing horribly in the beginning, and then just dominated them in the second half.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times. Mm-hmm. Oh, honestly, it's interesting. The roles were just so out there.
Roles are atrocious.
I feel like I enjoy my character less when I do not have to fight, or more when I don't have to fight. When I can just be like, let's investigate some things and do that. Even though I don't think that's really the basis of my character. It feels like I've become detective mercenary man.
Your character is true.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. I've fought in so many wars. It's time to use the skills I earned to be a detective.
You're like 12. Because you're a goblin. You're like...
I have like 10 con or something.
Accurate. I have 10 con. I have average. Look, I can't take negative con at this point in time, but I do
Yeah.
You don't want to be Cell and have fucking 8 con?
Look, I learned my lesson long ago that at least 10's the minimum I will take for con.
I'll just, give Lightning the snap block of the dude who shoots a spine out of his back.
Oh no! Hey, I made that.
Damage or something.
Look, I once played an elf character with a 6 con.
Yikes.
Yeah. Hey, little known fact: in Pathfinder, you can put an 8 into a stat, and elves in Pathfinder First Edition have -2 to Constitution.
Yep.
6.
Shaft so hard.
Not a great idea.
You just a half elf instead.
Yeah. I mean, 8 was more acceptable than livable, but still pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's still not great. You want like a 12 in Pathfinder most of the time.
You can probably
at least. Con should be 12 unless you're playing a mage, and then therefore you can maybe do a 10.
Yeah, you can, like, if we're like a ranger type, you could probably get away with a
Fort
10.
save is very important.
Yeah, or a ranged character, yeah.
Like, because I think both ranger and fighter get good fort saves, so they can make up for having no con.
I mean, my baseline is I never go below 12.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays it's a lot more like that anyway, but... Was there anything on Monday? I had something on Monday. I had Worms game on Monday. I remember it now that I'm thinking about it.
Terrorism did you get up to?
We didn't get up into terrorism, like, honestly, because, like, the stuff is... And this is the thing is, I did very little in that game, Hi Worm, because I knew for a fact that I wasn't really needed, and I honestly, knew that what was going to happen was not my character's wheelhouse, which was a lot of talkies. So they needed someone to stay back in the room we were staying at and guard the two kids, the terrorist and the psychic, who may or may not be involved with a terrorist psychic group. Probably not, but, you know, wanted by the authorities, both of them either way. So I did the important things. I hid the explosives that we had in the vent of our room so the cops wouldn't find it easy. And then I just watched the place to make sure everything was okay. We did have one scene with me, which was basically me not knowing anything and someone saying sorry to our pseudo-terrorist. And then everybody else continued to work towards getting some information / getting us a ride off of this place. So I'm going to be honest.
Damn.
I didn't have to roll anything or say much. And I was actually fine with that, because it's like one of those sessions where I knew my character was not going to be helpful. I'm good at flying and help fixing up the vessel a little bit if we need to. And maybe getting into a fight when I have my weapon, but we're on a space station where you had to turn in your gun or something. I can't help a lot. My laser sniper rifle is, under police care for now.
Oof.
So, yeah. Do you have anything on Tuesday?
Nope.
Canceled.
Divinity instead.
Yeah, that game was canceled.
We did do Divinity instead. Yeah, that's right. It was some good times.
We did things in Divinity, crimes potentially.
We wandered around trying to figure out where the hell we were supposed to go.
You certainly did crimes of the inventory variety.
My crimes have gotten better. Look, my crimes have gotten better. I take less things. I've like.
You don't need to take anything anymore. We have infinite money.
Yeah, I have a drug empire that I'm running.
We're doing the drug exploit. We don't need paintings to sell.
It's worth 195.
The drugs are worth more.
I know.
Yeah, I can make like 200,000 in like half an hour.
I just want to take it.
You just have a hoarding problem.
I want to take everything of value that's not.
Right, then keep it on your character.
I can't carry it.
You have no strength.
I have no strength. I'm filled with food. That takes like 50%. Actually, I think it takes like 70% of my weight. It's like the food I keep eating. That's why I like sit down and like pound down food once in a while to keep my weight down.
Maybe here's a thought. Maybe stop looting.
Yeah, here's a thought. Just get rid of it.
But I need to get drunk.
We have to have an intermission.
Throw you. I'm gonna fucking yeet your ass in the death fog next time I see it.
So that was the thing. We had Wednesdays off, so we didn't have anything there. Did have anything on Thursday?
It was a holiday.
Okay.
There was people that were free.
Yeah. My game was for primarily Americans, and one American had to do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I played board games.
Two Americans, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lynn was also doing stuff.
I sat in the house waiting for a package.
And
it was a holiday, so it's like I don't think they're gonna deliver today.
Didn't really do a whole lot. I did play some board games with friends. That was about it.
I watched Star Wars for half the day.
Star Wars.
I watched all of Andor.
How was that? Like,
I've heard it's really good.
Honestly, it's like pretty good.
Damn it.
There's only like a couple areas that are like, they're okay.
I've heard
But
the first 3 episodes are a little slow.
yeah, it has
But
slow
it's like
pacing.
the good slow.
Yes, that's what it is. It's a slow pacing, but I think it is beneficial to it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shows that I've watched where it feels like they're actively cutting out pauses between conversations to not pad the runtime, and they don't do that in this. And I think that's really
heard good. Multiple people call it the best Star Wars thing right now. Especially out of the new releases, but I'll have to watch it. Because I don't know if it'll be better than the original trilogy.
Look, I mean, like, I gotta be honest.
It's different. Is the thing.
The difference will be good because I didn't like Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like I found Kenobi fine, but I also like after watching it, I'm like, I can. There's some like huge problems with it.
This is a confession time about Star Wars. So I don't like So I think the Force is stupid.
I can understand that.
I already thought it was stupid in the original trilogy, but it was a plot device needed in the 70s. The fact that it continues to go from, maybe you can push a rock or choke a dude, to like, I can do some bullshit flips faster than the speed of sound. I just stop. Pick one.
The Force is a tool for a writer.
It's a fucking narrative device, and you need to pick one already.
Yeah. But like, it's the thing that people said it's like the least Star Wars.
Good.
But I think in this case, it's actually for its benefit, because it's like, hey, here's this world, and then like here's some references to things that maybe you know about, maybe you don't, and so that's the kind of fan service this is. Which I hate the word fan service because I think of it as a different thing.
It is still fan service to an extent,
but it is. It's a different kind.
Yeah.
And so they're like, they talk about Fondor, or they talk about I hate when they drop the new movies. What's that stupid the desert world that's not Tatooine?
Jakku.
Yeah, they talk about Jakku, and I'm like, I don't like that because I think the new trilogy is really awful.
I'm like neutral on it because I don't think about it enough to care.
I spent like 2 hours telling a friend of mine how I would do the first 2 movies differently, and they're like, that sounds amazing, and it's like, I didn't really change that much, to be honest. It's just, there's just a couple things, like, first of all, your characters were boring, and second of all, your story was bad.
There were 2 interesting characters that were thrown away.
Yeah.
I think it's like
Stormtrooper Man and Pilot Man.
I think it's this weird thing that you have to treat your universe correctly, and I think there's other fandoms that do that better for having more material, and it's unfortunate that just feels like Star Wars often doesn't.
Well, it's not Star Wars. It's Disney.
I mean, it's also the thing is,
sorry,
Star Wars doesn't really know what it wants to be.
That's true.
It's Disney and modern Hollywood. Modern Hollywood is just trying to redo everything. Be like, we got to make it for this crowd, and then they make it for this small percentage of the crowd, and then the major media or the major media consumers are like, hey, we don't like that, and they're like, well, you're stupid. It's like, that's not how you accept criticism.
The way that it is that I can break it up into this is the original trilogy is a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy movie set in space. The prequels are a series of action movies of varying quality and questionable acting. The sequel trilogies are more family-oriented to an extent, because they don't delve deep enough into the politics and shit that the original trilogy tried to deal with, and the prequels, fucking failed to deal with. And then you got Rogue One, which is just a fucking war movie, which is, in my opinion, the second best Star Wars movie next to Empire. At least the last half of it.
Yeah, the thing that was really good about Rogue One is that it was just like, it slotted in an area that didn't really need explanation, but because of that, it's like, hey, this is really cool.
Yep.
My only problem I had with Rogue One is their main actress lady. They present her as like the super badass warrior lady,
she doesn't do
and
anything.
she doesn't do that.
No, she doesn't really do
anything.
anything.
She takes a dude one time to like get out of this prison truck, and then she gets rescued or captured immediately after.
Yeah.
And then she's a damsel / princess for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I was talking with my friend, and I'm like, Princess Leia did more stuff, and that was in the 60s and 70s or something, right? Wasn't the original
70s,
Star Wars
70s
like
and
68?
80s. The original Star Wars was 70 something.
Was it 70 something? But I mean, like, that was in the 70s, and then like I looked up other things. Like I looked up Alien, the first Alien movie, and it's like Ripley in that is an extreme badass, right? You had badass lead actresses, you know, in the 70s and 80s, and now it's like, well, we want to do that again, but we don't want to like write them apparently.
Yeah, it's this weird catch-22 of a lot of things. I'm
big side tangent.
Yeah, no,
massive fucking side.
Massive side. I'm honestly happy that is a better series. It makes me want to like watch it. It's like one of those things. Is like I wanted to wait till it was done. Too. Kind of.
It's done.
I've seen exactly one clip from it, and it's the episode 11 clip with the ship.
So I'll check it out. So it's
coolest Star Wars shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, so Thursday was a Thursday. Yeah, I just went to basically family.
I'm having, you know, personal stuff, so like I just kind of hung out with some friends and played board games.
Yeah.
Nothing too special. Mostly a lot of Terraforming Mars, since that's like the only fucking game we play. It's a great game.
Did you have anything on Friday?
No, I don't remember why we canceled. I think Cell was dying or something.
Last minute, Cell had something come up.
Yeah, it was a family thing or something, I think.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a makeup game on Wednesday, I think?
I believe so, because everyone's free on Wednesday. This specific Wednesday.
Gotcha. Sounds like it was a week of tabletop. I've already updated people on my stuff for Pathfinder. Update on my schedule for stuff upcoming the week. I'll probably do Mount Wrath of the Righteous. Honestly, we're Act 5. I want to try to finish it. You know, it's like that kind of thing of like, I want to try to finish the game.
You got more patience than me, man. I would have dropped this draft too.
Like, I have to say, like, at least this is the part where I kind of like, where you go explore a bunch of things, but like, I think like it's this weird thing that somehow like 2 missions early on kind of got bugged out for me, I think, so I wasn't able to do them.
Good.
And now like in chapter 5 I was like finally looking into them, and they're not there anymore, I don't think. I don't know.
Classic.
I was gonna look into like, you know, maybe cheating and like using something to make them work again, but
eating,
you know. And now it turns out
what?
Yeah. It's like
illegal.
this one thing that, like, in an area where I was interacting with everything, somehow I didn't interact with it right or something, or you're supposed to interact with it twice. I didn't get this thing that now that I have it, it doesn't activate anything anymore, I guess, because you can't have nice things anymore, even though you could have maybe, or whatever. And then, like, there was this one thing that you didn't have access to that now I have access to that apparently, like, I guess you were supposed to go somewhere else entirely that they weren't showing you on the map to get access to it or something, which is kind of weird because they normally show you ways to get to these things. Kind of confusing. Whatever. Anyway, so maybe I'll do those. Hey, I'll finish up Stellaris. I'm at global or galactic war. Last session, the people to my north, who kind of hated me for a long time, finally decided to go to war with me, and I won that war. And basically, because it was close enough to my borders, I made claims on both their capital and their science nexus. Thank you for the free science, extra science nexus, and capital. So they're devastated. Because also midway through the war, one of their people under them decided to join the war and declared because I was supporting them for independence. So I was in 2 wars with the same people. One was defensive against their trying to like conquer part of me. The other was for freedom of these people that I was supporting. So it was kind of weird because I won my war and then I had to continue fighting them afterwards.
Yeah, that's always fun.
And then I decided to go to war with the people to my south, and it turns out they had a Colossus, so I could activate go to war containment, and I could just conquer everything. So I'm at war with 9 nations, 3 of which are like little tiny like baby nations, and one of them is currently and there's one of the group which has 1 minion under it, so that's 2 of the big nations is currently at war. And then in the middle of that, the fallen empire, who the people I originally declared war on had kept pissing off, but because they had this, united group of 9 nations was able to hold them off in their wars, decided to go at war with them. And guess what? They're not in shape to fight back against them right now. So fuck you. The fallen empire is also in on this, at least to give a distraction, which I'm okay with. We'll see if it works. The fallen empires are usually borked. I've noticed from seeing them, like, their giant fleet sits somewhere and then does nothing to do anything else, and it's kind of stupid.
That's why I don't play Stellaris.
I am still missing, like, 1 DLC, and it's the newer one, which has got the interesting stuff, which is, like, making me not really super want to play. Because I end up often hosting it, and I don't have all the DLCs.
I just played 4.
I mean, I could probably host one. I got the Toxoid stuff. The Toxoid stuff is very fun.
I have, like, mild hatred for Hearts of Iron 4. I like it, but I'm, like, really behind in DLC. So
you can't do anything,
Yeah, I can't practice on my own to learn better. And half the time, it's like, here's how you win. So I do exactly what they say, and I still lose for some reason, so it makes me angry. In Stellaris, I know how to win that game, so it's more fun.
Yeah, Eric and I played, side tangent, Eric and I played White 4 on Wednesday.
I did see you guys in this.
We did a Germany-Italy game. And we beat the Allies in 1939.
Jeez.
Yep.
So, like, I did basically a little bit of everything for my species for the Toxoid pack. I can safely say the species traits, they're interesting. They're not great, though. I don't feel like they're kind of like average species abilities, honestly. They felt like, and because... unless I'm, like, going for something, like, very, like, a meme or something, I'm not gonna go psionics or mechanics, because they're just not as good. And once you get, like, superior...
Psychics is being upgraded, and it sounds like it's gonna be pretty cool. So
I
I'm
really hope
excited
it
Psychics
to
got
hear
a buff recently in a DLC, and they're gonna give it more.
Like, they kind of got something with, like, there's, like, a Shroud faction that appears that can help out.
They changed how the Shroud stuff worked, which made it better.
I think they're redoing the Shroud now completely.
Yeah.
I think that's being... Because before, the Shroud was, like, half of the mechanic, and the buff your people... I mean, the buff your people get is still pretty good, but because you can get more from the gene modding stuff, you get slightly different stuff, but because you get more, it's better.
The Shroud was mostly there for an endgame crisis.
Yeah, and now it's a little bit better than that.
I like...
It's a little bit less... It's a bit more transparent now, I think, as well. Instead of just being like, oh, something will happen. It's like, nah, this is what happens.
Yeah, the tooltips got a bit of an upgrade.
And I feel like...
So you don't fuck yourself over.
The robot direction kind of feels the same sometimes.
Robots are still broken.
Yeah.
But they're boring.
Yeah.
So they're kind of boring.
They're boring,
boring and disgusting.
That's why I just don't want to do them. So I went genetics, and once you get the superior genetics, it's like, I just got rid of those. Scavenging, which is a new civic. Actually kind of neat. You get, like, alloys, and when you research debris, sometimes you get ships.
Ooh.
Which, can be useful, because you can get, like, random ships. But it also meant, like, when I did a bunch of those, I could like make a salvage fleet that could temporarily like it's not going to be like full power, but I could make like a secondary fleet that's got like half the power of one of my main fleets temporarily to help out some of the battles and stuff. So it did have its uses. And the extra alloys you get from it feel pretty good that way. So I do like the salvaging. It doesn't feel like the super strong Civic, but it feels like a pretty decent one, and especially like if you're going to go to a lot of wars, then it feels really good. Because then you have a lot more opportunities to salvage stuff. The Knight of the Toxic God. I do not think I got the best ending, but what I did get was I got effectively a Colossus that the Toxic God that can toxify a planet. Which doesn't sound great because it kills everything. But then I have an Ascension perk which I took, which is if you have toxic planets, you can detoxify them and make normal planets. So I've been fixing up a whole bunch of planets in the galaxy because I think because I took the Knight of the Toxic God, there was a lot more toxic worlds in our galaxy. So like whenever I get some territory, I can see like, oh, there's some toxic worlds. I can detoxify them and make planets that I can use. Great. And it's been very helpful that way. And I haven't used my Colossus, but it apparently doesn't quite count as a Colossus. It's kind of like weird. Like it's like it feels it's more like the like one of those like ancient foes in the galaxy almost, except it was my own, like a Leviathan. That like I basically tamed the Leviathan. I think there's another path you can take, which is a little stronger of an ending, but I got like a decent ending. Because there's like an achievement for like the true ending, and apparently I didn't get that. So I'm because I I'm playing single player. I just have it on iron.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah. And also I wasn't playing at such a difficulty that I'm really worried about it. So.
I mean, the difficulty is actually harder than before because of they basically made the AI suck less.
Yeah.
Which made them by default harder. So I think they actually added a lower difficulty.
You know what's been very hard? Mercenaries.
Oh yeah, they're always a pain in the butt.
So many people, and it's more than just it's not the Marauders. It's mercenary groups, which is a newer thing. Because nations can make mercenary groups, which are basically.
Oh, that's right.
Last time I played Stellaris for a little bit, I did he was with the new DLC because I forget who bought it for me. Someone bought it for me. Mm-hmm. I basically did the Lord of War run where you just make a bunch of mercenaries and just rake in a bunch of cash.
Because effectively, like, as soon as I went to war, because the computer's quicker at it, they basically hire on a whole bunch of mercenary fleets. And
they do that in Crusader Kings a lot.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, it makes it that it's been more difficult to win a lot of wars. But, it's like one of those things is like, I have to say, like, when the war goals say I'm outnumbered, I'm like, yeah, but these guys aren't unified. If they stacked up all their units in one place, certainly they could crush all of mine. But, like, I've got pretty good fleets that are, like, at nearly 100,000.
I also think this slightly hard AI is better than AI that eats paste in the back of the classroom.
Yeah. So... I have been enjoying it. I don't know if I'll do more than this session because I'll probably do like another session of the Galaxy at War, because if I get to that point in time where I'm winning that war, I'd control like half the galaxy. Like the nations that'll be left are the people that still like are technically overlords of like 3 nations that I just beat up when they went to war with me, and they're in no position to fight, and like none of their nations were that good. In fact, one of them is in a condition that it doesn't have to go to war with its overlord, and it's just been like friends with me the entire time because they're pacifists that have been my neighbor. That's been great. And then the people I had declare independence, they're a hive mind. They don't want to get fucking involved, and they're just there. So, like, if those are the 5 nations that are left, I'm like, there won't be a lot. And a couple of minor nations that aren't involved in the war, too, but that's fine. So, I mean, that'll be the win the game. It doesn't matter what the end game crisis is, that'll be win the game. And I think that'll kind of be my end if I do that. Because I've been saying, like, if I get to the point where I feel like I've won the game, I'm just not going to play anymore, because I don't need to at this point in time. It was more testing out this stuff, and it's been fun seeing a lot of those. I mean, like, honestly, if they have more of these, like, I might not have noticed it. They might have had a lot more of those toxic worlds in Stellaris that I just didn't notice them, and now they have, like, oh, now I have detoxify as an option. It gives me an option for a lot more planets. So, I'll do more Stellaris, more Wrath of Righteous, and I think that's it for the next week. I don't think there's anything else in this schedule right now. So I think of something, yay, and then, hey, next weekend is PAX Unplugged. I have no idea my schedule. I don't know which days I'm going. I will be going on days where I have friends going. Because, as I said last year, a convention like that, I'm not traveling really for it. I'm taking a train down, and driving a little bit. I want to have friends there to make it really worth it. So, sounds like this year I'm going to have more friends going. So I'll figure out my schedule. I'll take it. Whether or not I will be free on the evening, I have no idea on Saturday. I don't know when I'd be going, if I'm going on Saturday, and when I'm going to be back. If I have a discussing tabletop, I'll have it. If I don't, I don't. I'm going to say that. I'll keep people informed ahead of time by like a couple hours, because I'll know. Anyway, thank you, Momo, for joining for the entire thing. Thank you, Lightning, for popping in for our discussions and stuff about some certain things. It's been fun. I think we should get going. It's about the 2-hour mark. I want to go actually have dinner because I haven't had it yet.
Dinner.
Yes.
Food? Why would you do that?
Well, I had an early lunch, did some things, took my nap, and then woke up and realized, oh fuck, I slept a whole lot of time. Got to go do more stuff, and didn't have time for food anywhere in there. So hey, I didn't give myself time. Anyway, that's scheduled for stuff. Still one more week off of Buccaneers. We should be back on the 6th? 7th. That's the Wednesday there.
6th is a Tuesday.
7th is the Wednesday. I have to remember that. Okay, so, anyway. Farewell, everybody. Bye for now. Goodbye.
Bye.